You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. So we're now going to be joined with Ian from the Sheppey Coastguard. Ian, as always, it's great to have you along. I was hoping you could do our usual sort of introduction before we go into the rest.
Yes, certainly, Daniel, and good evening to all your listeners. I just want to sort of point out about Her Majesty's Coastguard. It's a section of the Maritime and Coastguard Agency responsible for the initiation and coordination of all maritime search and rescues within the UK Maritime Search and Rescue region. And that's basically a very large region. It's 10,500 miles of coastline and 1 million square nautical miles, which extends out into the Atlantic. And this includes the mobilization, organization, and tasking of adequate resources to respond to persons either in distress at sea or to persons at risk of injury or death on the cliffs or shorelines in the United Kingdom. And basically, it's also responsible for land-based search and rescue helicopter operations now, since about 2015. We're not a military force or a law enforcement agency. Those sort of coastal defences are the responsibility of the Royal Navy, and the Maritime Border Control being responsible for the responsibility of Border Force. However, we are a uniformed service, and we're made up of 352 teams located near the coastal stations around the UK. I'm part of the Sheppey team, and we're made up, which we call Coast Guard Rescue Officers, and we're volunteers trained to carry out rescues and provide assistance to those people in distress in the UK's coastline. And there are approximately about 3,500 Coast Guard Rescue Officers, and we carry out rope rescue, mud rescue, water rescue, and search duties in all weather at all times. In fact, Sheppey is the full complement. We do all of those, and we're paged by a National Maritime Operations Centre or a Coast Guard Operations Centre. Sheppey actually reports to Dover Coast Guard, and we'll also assist other authorities such as police, fire, and ambulance with its specialist expertise. And we also try and do these sort of things, which is provide safety advice and those that we rescue and members of the public. And the sort of things we get involved in, Daniel, is things like search and rescue. We carry out searches of the shoreline, which depend on our particular location. Ours are mostly mud and cliff type shorelines, as well as the normal beach shorelines. And these searches could be for vessels, wreckage, people who have abandoned ship, or missing persons. We also have a water safety and rescue. We're trained to be safe when in or near the water, and we're trained to carry out rescues in extremely rough conditions, and we work together as a team to recover casualties from danger while ensuring each team member is safe. We do mud rescue, which is, I think, and it is described as the most physically demanding type of rescue there is. Mud rescue technicians walk on the mud. We walk on the mud using equipment which prevents us from getting stuck, and we rescue casualties. I can tell you this now, it's arduous because I've recently gone through my revalidation on mud rescue. And finally, we do get involved in rope rescue methods, which are to recover casualties who have fallen or are stuck on cliff. And we work together to lower a cliff rescue technician who will assess the casualty, provide first aid treatment if necessary, and then recover them before transferring them to the next level of care as required. So those are the sort of things we actually do, Daniel, in terms of Her Majesty's Coastguard. If I may, I'd just like to sort of move on to the safety aspects now, if that's okay with you. Yeah, that'd be really good. Yeah. I mean, basically, we're coming up to the festive season, and one of the things we do like to tell people that swimming and alcohol don't mix. People do they have a concept of becoming invincible when they're inebriated, And we do get a lot of people who like to go swimming when they're under the influence of alcohol, and this is not a good idea. And certainly it's not a good idea at this time of year because the sea temperatures are getting very, very cold indeed. And our advice is, if you are going to go and have a walk along the beach, be aware of the tides, check the tide conditions, check the weather. And remember, there are a lot of cliffs on the island and there's a lot of mud. Cliffs will collapse if you walk on them. There's a lot of cliffs on our island which are prone to collapse. And we've also got lots of mud on the island where you can actually get stuck in the mud. So that's certainly it's sort of safety advice we can go on. And just to give you, Daniel, just to finish off this interview, I'd just like to give you sort of a smattering of what we've actually done in the last couple of months since I last spoke to you. These are not all the incidents, but it does give you an idea of the type of things that we get up to. And on Monday, the 14th of August at 5 p.m., we were asked to go to the Queenborough All-Tide Landing to meet a yacht Bandita with 2 persons on board, which was being towed by the Sheerness lifeboat. It was safely placed on the mooring, and we went out on a trot boat and passed on safety advice. On the 19th of August, basically at 11 o'clock at night, we were tasked to the All-Tide Landing following a report of persons stuck in the mud. The Sheerness lifeboat was in attendance, and we ascertained that the casualty were 2 jet skis and a motor cruiser, Escapade 2, and it was actually 6 casualties in total. The cruiser had lost power in one engine, and one jet ski had been disabled due to the engine flooded with seawater. We eventually secured the jet ski and the cruiser to the All-Tide Landing. On Monday, the 28th of August at 10:30 in the morning, we were tasked to a light aircraft that had crash landed at Sea Salter. On arrival, Kent Fire and Rescue, Kent Ambulance and Kent Police were also on scene. The 6 occupants of the Piper light aircraft were in the care of the ambulance team, and they fortunately only suffered minor injuries. The aircraft had lost power on a flight from North Kent to France, and the pilot managed to clear the sea wall, very lucky, and land the aircraft in a recently harvested cornfield. It's a place called Cleve Marsh, which is on the way to Faversham. They were very lucky. No injuries, really. Sunday, the 24th of September at 11 o'clock in the morning, we were tasked to the seawall near the Shipwright Arms, Holland Shore. The casualty was a female with a suspected broken leg. We recovered her by stretcher to an awaiting ambulance for onward transmission to hospital for X-ray. And basically, we regularly train in the recovery of casualties in difficult circumstances and terrain. Excuse me. And on this occasion, the casualty was given first aid by our station officer, Tim Judge, who was also a first responder for the ambulance service. And fortunately, the deputy station officer, Eamon French, who was also a first aid trainer for the service. Finally, on Thursday, the 26th of October, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we were tasked to some pier Chatham to assist the Medway Coastguards with a sinking vessel. The Sheerness inshore lifeboat was on scene. The vessel was secure, and the casualty was taken ashore. And that basically is where we are since my sort of last radio interview we did in August, Daniel.
Well, Ian, as always, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to us here at the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on BRFM Bridge Radio.
Thank you very much. Delighted to do this, and I just wish all your listeners a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Daniel.
And you as well.
Thank you, Daniel.